Last two. Here's a team comparison. The Huskies love the three-pointer, and St. John's this year has made only 6.
I think big difference in the game is philosophy of coaching. The fact that Louis' team has only taken 28 three-pointers, and Connecticut has made 51, maybe a factor in the ballgame.
St. John's in the home white, Connecticut in the visiting blue. Opening tip control by the Redmen of St. John's. Boo Harvey with the basketball. Harvey's shooting is picked up recently, and he sets the attack.
Connecticut in the 3-2 matchup zone to start with.
St. John's comes off the 65-58 win at Georgetown on Wednesday night. Shelton Jones to the basket. Rebound tipped up by Jason Williams. Harvey recovers. So Jason Williams starting in place of Marco Baldi, first time this year. And he gets the basket and a foul.
A lot of people have wondered for quite a few ball games now when Louis was going to make this move and go to Jason, and obviously he's a factor right away early in the ball game. Been playing very, very well as of late. Had an outstanding game against Georgetown.
Jason Williams is a sophomore from Christ the King High School in New York City. Sent out last year, was a Proposition 48 casualty. He is a guy who's not afraid to put it up. 2-0. St. John's with the lead. Steve Peichel working with a new backcourt mate in Phil Gamble, who had come off the bench in the previous 14 for UConn.
St. John's in man-to-man defense, and UConn's going to try to get something for Robinson inside right away.
Robinson puts it up, and the rebound to Jason Williams. So now Boo Harvey looks to run for St. John's. Michael Porter comes off a terrific outing against Georgetown, 21 points on 7 for 12 shooting from the field and 7 for 8 from the line.
Michael Porter and Jason Williams have been the hot players as of late for St. John's.
Matt Brust to Jones. Shot clock inside of 17 now. Harvey, two-pointer. He hits it.
Boo Harvey not having an outstanding year shooting from the field as of yet. Maybe he'll heat it up here.
St. John's 4-zip. Steve Peichel to Phil Gamble, who says he's looking forward to the starting assignment, but realizes that emotionally it's different. You've got to be ready from the opening tap. Robinson on the baseline, traveling call. Our officials for tonight's ball game, the referee is Jody Sylvester, and Gene Manji and John Bonder also working the game tonight. Big East Conference officials.
Key defensive help there. Jones and Williams getting together and forcing Robinson to make the travel.
So St. John's opens up quickly, leading 4-zip. Here's Jones. Back to Porter.
St. John's, very patient team, likes to play its half-court offense.
Michael Porter. Got it. 6-0 St. John's.
Michael Porter's been on a roll lately. Been playing very, very well.
Missing, Matt Brust clearing. And here comes Boo Harvey. He penetrates and decides to back it out. The Huskies of UConn pulled the upset over Syracuse, and then they were beaten by Villanova on Wednesday, 69-58. And it will be a turnover, UConn basketball.
UConn zone collapse caused the turnover.
Joe, in that game against Villanova, the Huskies fell behind 13-0 before recapturing the lead in the second half, 37-36.
That may be one of the reasons why Calhoun has gone with Gamble tonight.
Robinson missing, rebound, Shelton Jones. So the Huskies have started the same way they did Wednesday. $16:50 to go. First half, 6-0 St. John's.
Calhoun, I think, looking to get some early offense from Gamble and from Williams.
Brust. And a foul is called, and it's on Phil Gamble. It's a two-shot opportunity for Matt Brust.
Matt Brust, as we mentioned at the top of the show, one of those kind of guys that coaches love to have on the team. He's a worker. He works every day in practice. He does the job in the ballgame. Plays a lot of minutes and gets across the board kind of stats.
He was the Big East player of the game last Saturday night against Seton Hall. 11 points, 8 rebounds. And he hits the first.
Got nice shooting for him. He's just about a 79% foul shooter.
Rebound to Lyman DeFriest, and we have a lane violation called against the Huskies. And Brust will get another shot. And Jim Calhoun obviously unhappy with the start once again tonight. Very successful coach at Northeastern. Second year with the Huskies.
Jim Calhoun took a Division II program at Northeastern, made it into an NCAA Division I power. And he's hopeful of doing the same thing here now and rejuvenating this Connecticut program. Brust makes the foul shot.
And it's 8-0 St. John's. Steve Feichel almost loses it to Harvey. Bounces underneath a pretty feed to Lyman DeFriest, the freshman from Detroit, Michigan.
Steve Feichel makes a real fine play there. Important bounce pass, scoring pass there to get Connecticut off the dime.
So it's 8-2 St. John's. Alley-oop attempt run down by Feichel. Now the Huskies push it. A traveling call on Steve Feichel. Connecticut likes those long lead passes, especially if it's Robinson, the man on the boards.
If Robinson gets the board and makes the outlet, Gamble won't hesitate to put it up at the end of the fast break.
Coming up on 16 minutes first half.
Totally different philosophy of fast break. Connecticut will look for the jump shot on its fast break. Louis and St. John's wants to have numbers. They want 3-2, 4-3 advantages.
Brust underneath. Oh, a beautiful reverse layup with the left hand.
Brust strong. You can see a little bit of his football background there. An outstanding athlete.
10-2 Redmen. Murray Williams, who got the start after a fine game against Villanova, 9 points. Feichel from long range. He hits the three-pointer. And the Huskies needed that one. It's now a 10-5 game.
And that's not an accident. That's not an accident. Feichel has taken 27 shots. 15 of them have been from three-point range, and he's shooting just about 50%.
Shelton Jones losing the ball. A hell ball called, and the arrow points in UConn's direction. And we have a timeout on the court. 15-16 to go. In this first half of play, St. John's 10, Connecticut 5.
Piedmont Airlines presents Drop Everything in Call Fares. Drop what you're doing and call today. Drop everything to get our lowest fares to over 170 cities. And Piedmont service. Drop it. Call today. Tickets are non-refundable and substantial restrictions apply. Now, pick it up.
If you're looking for the only sports car in the world that gives you the superior traction of front-wheel drive, a competition suspension, and an unbeatable 770 protection plan, then look no further. It's gotta be the intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby Z. It's gotta be a Dodge.
They should have asked us secretaries what we thought before they went out and got useless new phone system. It's cutting people off. We can't do a decent conference call. I hate this thing. They should just junk it and get a whole new one.
St. John's leading Connecticut 10-5. The Redmen opened up an 8-0 lead. The Huskies have come back, and they have the basketball off the turnover.
St. John's will be playing man-to-man defense, but it's always interesting to watch the support they get from the weak side in the back.
6-zip on the boards thus far. Cliff Robinson in the game is Willie McLeod for UConn. Wears number 33. Had been starting most of the season. This was the first game. As a matter of fact, he didn't start.
Key matchup here is Michael Porter on Bill Gamble.
Michael. Gamble off a screen.
Porter in his face.
Robinson goes up, rejected, but a goaltending call against Shelton Jones.
That's an example of the support kind of help we were talking about, but he got there a little bit late, and it was a good call, definitely goaltending.
Guess one of the big surprises tonight is that UConn not going with Tate George as of yet. He was the freshman standout last year as a point guard. This year, the sophomore started all 14 games, but he has yet to come into the ball game. Jason Williams. Oh, a tough fall-away shot for a center.
That's the reason Louis went to him. They want a little bit more offense from him early. Baldy had not been really getting a lot done in the offensive end of the court for the Redmen.
St. John's 5-5, coming up on 14 minutes first half of play. Robinson fires. He hits.
Williams will have to go out on him. Robinson likes to face up from about 15 feet, and he can bury that. He's really looking to a pro career as some kind of a forward facing the basket rather than as a postman.
12-9, St. John's with the lead. Brust.
Connecticut changed its defense. It's in a 1-3-1 zone now.
Calhoun loves to switch defenses and likes to turn it into a half-court game.
And Louis just as happy to play half-court. Brust from deep.
And Pico clears the boards. I mean, the teams really mirror each other in terms of that half-court style. Gamble on the run. Nice feed to Williams. And Porter keeps it alive. And it goes out of bounds. Michael Porter, who can jump out of the gym. But it will be UConn basketball.
Calhoun would have loved to have seen that jumper fall for Williams. Williams is an outstanding scorer, all-time leading scorer at Torrington High School, and he can fill it up when he gets going. But freshmen have to get some minutes.
He's getting a lot of them. Michael running the show from the point tonight. Gamble against Porter. Two good athletes. Tough shot for Phil Gamble.
Great defense on the part of Mike Porter, but Phil Gamble just beat him one-on-one and just went right over him.
In the 9 UConn wins, Gamble averaging almost 18 per game. In the 5 UConn losses, he's averaging less than 10. He is a key. And a foul is called underneath on the Huskies. It's on Willie McLeod.
There's no question when the backcourt of Connecticut plays well, they do well. Gamble there, right over the top over Porter. Porter played excellent defense in that particular case, but Gamble just made a super one-on-one move.
Foul was called on Pikel, not McLeod. St. John's with the ball, leading by just one, 12-11. And Brust is called for steps. So after the dismal start tonight, UConn has roared right back. Down to 8-zip. They now trail just 12-11.
UConn is that kind of a team. They play in amazing spurts.
Murray Williams outside. Phil Gamble. Willie McLeod. Robinson, beautiful move. And a whistle and a foul is called.
Cliff Robinson has improved his offensive game in the sense that he can put the ball on the floor now and take it to the basket as he did there.
Jeff King in the ball game, 6'10" senior, Lansing, Michigan. And heading to the bench is Murray Williams. Robinson goes to the free throw line.
King may be a response to that earlier graphic in terms of the rebounds. Maybe Calhoun looking to see if we can get a little bit more up in the glass for the Huskies.
Robinson buries the first. Over the last 10 games, he's averaging 22.1 points per game. Of course, during the Connecticut Mutual Classic, he had back-to-back games of 42 and 30. And he hits 2 free throws here, and the Huskies have the lead by 1, 13-12, at 12:31 of the first half of play.
Robinson had been a poor foul shooter earlier in the year, but he's improved as of late, made the big foul shot to beat Syracuse up at Syracuse, 51-50.
So St. John's standing around a little bit of offense right now.
Connecticut in a matchup zone. St. John's trying to set up a pattern here.
Brust to Shelton Jones. And St. John's doing a lot of standing.
Calhoun wants St. John's to have to go over the top. He doesn't want to give them anything in the paint. He doesn't want Jones and Williams to get anything inside.
Shot clock down to 10. Harvey fires. Rebound Robinson. Here come the Huskies. Gamble. Dangerous in the open court. King. Side jump. Rebound Porter. This time the Redmen push it with Harvey controlling. Boom. Beautiful feed, but Jones lost the ball. And back the other way. Robinson against Porter. Beautiful dish to King for the jam.
Well, Cliff Robinson made a real fine play there. He was a little bit off balance, might not have been able to make the dunk himself, laid it off to Jeff King.
8-point run for the Huskies of UConn. They lead it 15-12. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations.
Once people get a look at what they can win, the Pepsi 4x4 sweepstakes is going to attract a lot of attention. Because the grand prize is a real beauty. A 1988 Jeep Wrangler. But you'd better enter now, before it gets away. To enter, look for the Pepsi 4x4 sweepstakes display wherever you buy Pepsi.
This year, the world's automakers will offer more than 500,000 impersonations of a single car. The BMW 325. But like most fine things in life, the copies are never worth quite as much as the original.
The Plymouth player of the game to be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball.
We see Robinson here making a nice feed to King for the dunk.
So the Huskies lead it by 3 after trailing 8-zip. We have 11 minutes, 15 seconds to go. First half of play from Alumni Hall. Bruce Beck and Joe O'Brien with you.
I think you made a good point before, Bruce. The Connecticut zone has St. John standing still. They're playing a little bit lethargic on the heels right now.
Michael knocks it away. Robinson picks it off for UConn. King fills the lane and fires. Rebound Williams. Nicely executed break, though, Joe.
Exactly the way Coach Calhoun would like it to be. The only difference, he wants that jumper to fall. But Connecticut will take that jumper where St. John's will normally hesitate and bring it back out.
Brust fires. He hits.
That's the response to the Connecticut collapsing zone, but Coach Calhoun has decided he wants to make them go over the top. St. John's now in a half-court trap. Look for a double team here.
6 points for Brust. St. John's went almost 4 minutes without a field goal. Campbell for 3. Rebound King. And he misses again. And a hell ball. Arrow points in St. John's direction.
Jeff King would like to have that one back. To a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Gamble from deep. Nice offensive rebound by Jeff King. Should be able to bury this. 90 miles an hour, back rim.
He really smacked that one into the back rim. Porter drives. And a foul is called on the follow. And it's against St. John's, Michael Porter.
As so often happens, a player like Porter gets a little bit frustrated, makes nice penetration for the jumper, but then goes over the back on the offensive rebounding opportunity.
First foul on Porter. UConn with a 1-point lead. Michael the King. The cloud. He hits it.
Real nice ball handle on the part of Connecticut into the high post to Jeff King and then picks it off into the corner for the jumper for Willie McLeod.
Huskies lead it by 3. Sheldon Jones fires. Jason Williams with the board and backs in.
Jason Williams, nice offensive rebound. One bounce and a 12-footer and buries it.
6 points for Jason Williams making his first start. Huskies lead it by 1, 17-16. Robinson open. 3 St. John's players going for the rebound. And over the top will be the call against UConn. That is their 4th team foul.
Pre-game, I would have said that this might be a game whereby the 6 men would be keys, Jason Williams and Phil Gamble. But here we wind up seeing both of them in starting roles and both being a factor early.
Lyman DeFries back in the ball game for the Huskies. And here's Tate George for the first time.
Tate George, the outstanding point guard for Connecticut. For whatever reason, Coach Calhoun decided not to go with him tonight.
He's going to need Tate George during the course of the game, though, that's for sure. Here's Williams, and Robinson is called for the foul over the top. That is number 2 on Robinson.
While we're talking about Tate George, has an outstanding turnover and assist ratio, 76 assists and only 29 turnovers. That's fantastic when you consider the amount of time that he handles the ball in UConn offense.
That really is. If you look at the Big East and you look at that turnover assist ratio and you see that he's 2.5 to 1 with assists, in this conference, I think that's a lot to be proud of.
Oh, sure is. Boo Harvey is one of the outstanding guards in the conference for St. John's, and he has a 58 assists to 47 turnover ratio.
Brust outside to Porter. UConn on a 2-3 zone again. He really switches around, doesn't he?
To show you a different kind of zone.
Brust. Harvey. They're really packing it in, giving St. John's the J if they want it.
Oh, they're going to make Brust and Harvey and Porter go over the top, no question.
Boo Harvey with a 3-point field goal.
And Boo Harvey delivers. That's his second long jump of the night, first three-pointer.
That's only his second three-pointer of the year, and St. John's back in front now, 19-17, with 8:15 to go in this first half of play.
And those two field goals bring a smile to Louis' face for Porter.
Gamble trying to answer with a 3, tipped in by Willie McLeod, who was airborne. Number tied at 19.
Seems as though the board play is evening out a little bit more now.
Here's Brust. Back to Boo Harvey. Harvey on the baseline. He connects. So Boo is waking up on the offensive end, and the Redmen by a deuce.
Boo here's the thunder. He's got the feel.
He is 11 for 23 from the floor in his last 2 games, which is pretty good considering he was shooting around 35% from the field.
Yeah, he had been the poorest field goal shooter on the starting team.
Robinson connects.
Robinson does what he does best. Faces up 15 feet and buries it. Jason Williams going to have to come out and play him.
8 for Robinson. 21-21. Harvey to Porter.
Porter likes to bounce it once in a while, trying to get into the seam for his jumper rather than to shoot the jumper from three-point range.
Under 7 minutes to go now in the first half. Jason Williams, fall away. Kept alive by McLeod, run down by Robinson. Here's Tate George in control. Now Tate directing traffic.
And notice that often UConn runs what they call a sideline fast break. Gamble for the jumper.
Oh, pretty jumper by Phil. He loves to shoot it off a pick. He buries it there, and the Huskies back up by 2.
And as you mentioned, a well-executed half-court offense for UConn. Robinson threw the nice pick. Gamble came off it and got the open man 15-footer.
Connecticut by 2 in this seesaw first half of play after St. John's had jumped out 8-0. Connecticut came back and cinched that point. We've been close.
Connecticut again in a 1-3-1 zone.
And a foul is called, a mugging inside as Jason Williams went to the basket, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And the UConn defense is stressing that. They're trying to keep the ball away from the inside. They're not going to let Jones and Williams do things in the paint.
Murray Williams is back in, along with Jeff King for the Huskies. Robinson and McLeod leave, so UConn going with Tate George and Lyman DePriest, Murray Williams, Jeff King, and the 5th player on the floor is Phil Gamble. Jason Williams hitting the first free throw. The Redmen still with their same starting 5, and now Marco Baldi gets ready to report in.
Jim Calhoun likes to go to the bench more than Louis.
So Baldi will replace Williams. And there's a timeout on the court. 23-23. Our score. 6 minutes, 2 seconds to go. First half of play. I'm Bruce Beck, along with me, Joe O'Brien. We're at Alumni Hall on the campus of St. John's University, and thus far, Joe, a chess match.
A heck of a game, and the first appearance now of Marco Baldi, who had been the starting center for the year for St. John's. Be interesting to see what he does in this role here as a backup guy.
Shelton Jones on the bench instead of Jason Williams, and Jeff King fires. And the rebound for Baldi.
And Baldi immediately gets something done on the court.
Shelton Jones with no points in this first half, and he's been pretty consistent. Porter missing. Brust with the rebound. He turns. Dishes to Baldy. And St. John's will reset. Now Porter goes to the hoop. He hits.
And that's what Porter likes to do. He likes to put the ball on the floor and penetrate the zone for his jumper rather than shoot it over the top.
25-23. St. John's by 2. Gamble working against Porter. DePriest missing. Following it out of bounds, St. John's basketball.
Typical Big East hustle, though. Both teams diving on the floor. It's always nice to see that, the competition that exists, the intensity with which the teams play in this conference.
Pico replaces Gamble in that UConn lineup. So Pico, the shooting guard. And Tate George goes to the point. Cliff Robinson also reporting back in for the Huskies.
The Huskies in a collapsing matchup zone.
25-23, St. John's by 2, under 5 minutes in the first half. Williams, and a foul is called, and Jason Williams really draws the foul well.
Jason Williams is very mobile for a 6'9" guy. He can put the ball on the floor. He has a nice head fake. He got Jeff King off his feet, leaned in, drew the foul.
Jason Williams, 2 for 3 from the line tonight. He has 8 points in the game. His high game of the year, 22 against Harvard in his first ever college game.
Here we go. Nice fake, throws his body in, gets King leaning, hits him on the elbow.
And Williams connects on the second free throw, so he hits the pair, and St. John's has extended their lead now to 4. Michael for the Huskies. UConn coming into the game, 9-5, 2-4 in Big East Conference play. In their last 5 games, they have lost 1, and lost. Beautiful feed by George to Robinson. No, it was Williams on the dish.
Murray Williams, freshman, looked like a senior on that feed. Great pass to Cliff Robinson.
Robinson has 10 points, and the Huskies back within 2.
That wasn't an accident for Williams. He can play guard.
Steps called on Matt Brust.
Here's the freshman making real nice penetration here now. Finds Robinson underneath.
He's not going to miss the jam. Coming up on 4 minutes. First half of play. Robinson on the baseline. He hits it. Basket counts. And a foul is called. And it's on St. John's.
As we had said, Robinson has improved his game. Watch how quick he is as he goes by Baldy here on this particular play. Baldy tries to defend him, standing up a little bit too straight. Robinson beats him to the baseline and real strong for the deuce.
First foul on Marco Baldy. Cliff Robinson, heck of a first half, 12 points already.
The biggest improvement in Robinson's game has been his ability to put it on the floor. He makes the three-point play.
So the Huskies go up by 1 on the three-pointer by Robinson. Connecticut 28, St. John's 27. We'll be right back.
With just 2 turnovers, and St. John's with 6, and that's with not starting Tate George in the backcourt. UConn got away with it.
Luke Carter second, talking to Matty Brust on the bench. St. John's led thus far by Jason Williams. His first start, 10 points. Cliff Robinson, 13 for UConn. Shelton Jones back in the game, has not scored, has not been a factor.
St. John's with a big lineup now. They've got the 3 big guys in, though. Baldy, Jones, Wright, and Williams.
And Harvey and Porter in the backcourt. Huskies going with Michael and Tate George, Robinson, King, and Williams up front. Here's Harvey, shot clock down to 12 seconds. Jones, and he gets the roll.
That's an interesting change on the part of Louis, though, to take him out of the post, keep the 3 big guys in, and play Jones out on the perimeter, and he buries the jumper.
St. John's by 1. George to Robinson, working against Baldy. A lot of movement without the ball for the Huskies.
And they'll try to come back to Robinson again. They want to see that matchup, Robinson against Baldy.
Brust getting set to report in for the Redmen. Now the shot clock on this side of the court goes down to 10 seconds. So both teams using a lot of the shot clock. It's at 7.
Here's the matchup they wanted.
Robinson. And an air ball pulled down by Jones.
Nice defensive help on the part of the sophomore Jason Williams there. Did a nice job helping Baldy.
Boo Harvey to Jones. Jones, as you mentioned, playing on a wing instead of with his back to the hoop underneath. 2:15 to go. First half of play, St. John's by 1. Harvey. Jones recovers. Now the shot clock goes down to 12.
St. John's has a little bit more movement in their offense right now than they did earlier in the game.
Jones with 5 seconds of the shot clock. Harvey for 3. He hits. Second three-pointer of the night for Boo Harvey.
Light it up, Boo Harvey. He's having a night. He's really on with his jumper.
32-28. St. John's by 4.
I'd say the difference in the game so far has been the fact that Harvey has been making his jumper.
Tate George against Porter. Murray Williams. Good pump fake. Rebound, Harvey. Here's Porter in transition. He buries the jumper, a 2-point field goal, and Calhoun wants a timeout.
Good timeout, Coach Calhoun. The San Jacinto teammates there teamed up what they did so often as teammates for 2 years in the junior college ranks.
So 7 in a row for the Redmen of St. John's, and they now have opened up a 6-point lead. And Boo Harvey really controls this last fast break, a half-fast break, if you want to call it that, Joe.
This is the kind of fast break that Louis Conaseca likes. We'll get the ball out. We'll get it in the hands of the point guard. Boo sees that there's something in front of him, under control. Makes the pass to his teammate Porter, who loves to take that pull-up jumper on the break. Nothing fancy about this. Bread and butter basketball. But that's the kind of fast break that Lou Conaseca likes.
And there's New York police officer Stephen McDonald with his lovely wife Patty, getting a warm standing ovation from the crowd here at Alumni Hall. He was injured in the line of duty, and he is recovering so beautifully. And New York has certainly embraced police officer Stephen McDonald, who is a heck of a sports fan, loves hockey, loves basketball. And a wonderful little son, Connor, too. 1:15 to go in this first half of play. St. John's 34, Connecticut 28.
Important possession here for Connecticut.
Robert Ursery out to Steve Peichel. Huskies keeping things nice and easy. Ursery in trouble. And he gets it off to Gamble, who drives. Loose underneath, Murray Williams. Top play by Murray Williams. Gutsy play.
A slight-built young man, but very...
No one would deny
that probably opt to go for one here. See Boo Harvey penetrate, try to get something for Porter.
The onus on the defense here to pick up, so Brust in a position to just hold the ball. Coming up on 15 seconds in the first half. Brust to Jones. We're at 5. Fall away. Porter tips it, and a foul is called, and I believe Michael Porter was over the top. And the Huskies will not go to the line because that is only the 4th team foul on St. John's. 1 second left in the half. One tick to go.
They wound up getting a poor shot there. I'm sure Louis would have liked a better shot than the shot that Shelton Jones got up.
So Willie McLeod reports for UConn. And also coming in is Lyman DePriest. So UConn will inbound the ball. 1 second remaining in the half. Huskies down by 4.
Looking to throw the long pass and the bomb.
McLeod dishes quickly to Ursery, and that is it. So a well-played first half, although there wasn't a lot of fast breaking. And the score at Alumni Hall, St. John's 34, UConn 30. We'll come back with our halftime show after these messages from your local stations. on Jason Williams.
Again, the key matchup in Rui's man-to-man defense is Michael Porter on Phil Gamble.
St. John's going with Michael Porter, Boo Harvey in the backcourt. Jason Williams, Matt Brust, Shelton Jones up front. Jeff King. Here's Peichel. Williams penetrates. Who wants it? Jeff King corrals it. And finally, Jason Williams for the Redmen. Porter, back to Harvey. Harvey's got the confidence on the jumper tonight.
The difference in the game tonight so far, there's no question, has been Boo Harvey's field goal shooting. He's been outstanding.
5 for 6 from the field for Boo, including 2 for 2 for three-point range. The delay is because the net was stuck, and Jeff King had to run back and get it.
Interesting point relative to those three-pointers that we were talking about. St. John's has only taken 28 three-pointers for the season. Connecticut has taken 117.
Here's Michael Porter almost knocking it away. Do you feel, Joe, a team has to make the three-pointer to be an NCAA tournament champion?
I think to be an NCAA tournament champion now, you have to use the three-pointer over the course of 40 minutes, not just at the end of the half or at the end of the ball game as catch-up, as a lot of teams try to employ it.
Peichel, Murray Williams, blocked by Jason Williams. King is there, and a foul is called.
And so far, this change in the lineup for Connecticut, going with the bigger team with Jeff King, has shown some merit. He's had 2 offensive rebounds already.
King's been very active.
Here we go. Murray with the jumper, blocked by Williams. King very, very active, takes it strong to the basket and gets fouled.
First foul on Shelton Jones, and Jeff King will go to the line for 2 in the ball game. King 2 points, 1 for 5 from the field, but he is working on the inside, and he missed that one monster jam.
And he's been around and out all night, even on his jumpers. He had a couple that were just like that foul shot, in and out.
He's been struggling lately. He got the start against Villanova, and in 19 minutes had only 4 points. And he misses both free throws. Robinson with the rebound, and we have a foul called, and it's against the Huskies.
Yeah, if we had a replay on that, Bill Robinson, hands-on probably on the offensive rebound. Big push. Cliff Robinson, probably hands-on here. Watch it. There you go.
And that is a 3rd foul on Cliff Robinson. Luke Carnesecca calls it a subway nudge. But sometimes the officials catch you, don't they? Shelton Jones on the baseline. He goes in.
Over the top.
So Porter gets the foul on the other end of the court after he picked up the foul on Robinson on defense.
Michael Porter, only 6'1", but he goes up really high. He skies on that offensive board. He's going to get some tip-ins during his career.
Scores of other games: Villanova leading Seton Hall 69-63. BC over Providence 35-20 at the half. Gamble for 3. Won't go down for him. And here's Boo Harvey in transition. Harvey, and he threw it out of bounds.
Miscommunication between the 2 teammates. It's usually automatic. Harvey and Porter find each other very, very well at the end of that break.
These guys hang out together. They're roommates. So I guess there's really no excuse for a turnover like that. Here's Robinson posting up. Rejected by Shelton Jones.
Again, that was the kind of help that we were talking about earlier in the first half. While St. John's plays man-to-man, that kind of help is similar to zone defense in the back. Robinson makes the move here on Williams, but Jones, great help from the weak side. Outstanding block.
Shelton Jones cleaning the backboard on that one. St. John's 36, UConn 30. 17:50 to go, second half. Huskies still looking for their first bucket of the second half. Here's Harvey, back to Porter.
Shelton Jones a factor in the game already defensively here in the second half. He's intimidated a couple of shots and blocked one.
Jones posting up. Who wants the rebound? Finally, Porter comes out of there. He spins. Wild basketball. It's still loose. Finally, Murray Williams gets it to Cliff Robinson. 3-on-2. Nice execution by the big man. And a foul is called as Gamble will go to the line for 2.
And on that UConn fast break, Gamble has often made that very pass to Robinson. I'll bet you that may be one of the few times the big guy has made that assist. Outstanding pass by Cliff Robinson.
Joe, I'll let you describe this one.
Here's the great hustle. Tough pass to catch, but now both teams on the floor. Everybody wants the ball. No one can come up with it. All of a sudden, Murray Williams gets it. A good no call by the official, and as a result, Connecticut gets the fast break. Robinson makes the good pass to Gamble.
And that's why Robinson looked like a small forward in the NBA on that play. He handled the ball beautifully, ran the fast break from the middle, and threw a bounce pass.
And it's because of that kind of mobility that you're talking about that NBA scouts are looking at Cliff Robinson very, very seriously.
Gamble hits the first free throw. 5 points in the game for Gamble. Rebound, Shelton Jones.
Shelton Jones is playing way above the rim this half. Louis must have given him a little bit of a lecture at the half.
Steve Serena in the game for the first time for St. John's, number 40, and off the bench, Willie McLeod for UConn. Jones way off the mark on the jumper. Michael. Wow. Crowd felt he got away with one.
Might have got away with a little travel there.
Michael penetrates, hands to McLeod. Robinson posting up on Williams. Gamble. Shot clock down to 16. Gamble for 3. He buries it.
And that's exactly what Connecticut needs. They need something on the perimeter from Gamble in the second half. They're hoping to get back in this game. 2-point ball game.
8 points for Phil Gamble.
1-3-1 zone, the part of Connecticut.
Brust looking inside. Jones is just 1 for 7 from the field in the game. Jones, nice feed, Jason Williams, and a reach-in foul is called on Steve Peichel. That is only the second foul on UConn. St. John's has committed 4, and we have a timeout on the court. So the Redmen of St. John's lead the Huskies of UConn 36-34. We'll be right. 59 left in the game, and it's a close one. St. John's clings to a 2-point lead. Matt Brust, Steve Serena. Through Harvey looking for the J tonight. Boo connects again. He's only missed 1 all night long. He has 14 points. St. John's leads by 4.
Harvey's a key player in the ballgame right now. Had a hot hand right from the beginning.
Phil Gamble to Steve Peichel. Murray Williams, McLeod, and Robinson up front for the Huskies.
Serena in that matchup now on Gamble.
It's been a murderous January road schedule for the Huskies, and it's not over yet. And Robinson draws the foul on Steve Serena. Still coming up next Saturday, Connecticut travels to Georgetown. So in this month, they've been at Seton Hall, at Pittsburgh, at Syracuse, at St. John's, and at Georgetown.
And we talked to Coach Calhoun a couple of games back, and he said if they could get through January alive, if they could come close to 500, he'd be very, very pleased. And they're 3-3 out of those 6 ball games, so I think he's pretty pleased.
They beat Providence at home. They beat Syracuse on the road. That could have been the key win in this stretch for Jim Calhoun's ball club.
Not only in this stretch, but in terms of giving validity to their program. To be able to beat a team that was rated #1 in the country, and certainly one of the outstanding teams in the Big East presently, is really, really important for the UConn program.
Robinson, 13 points in the game, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, now 4 for 4. Against Villanova, he was there 17 times at the line.
Cliff Robinson having another outstanding game.
He really is becoming consistent.
One of the premier forwards, if you will, in the Big East. Game in, game out, he gets his 18 to 20 points, his 8 or 9 rebounds.
St. John's by a deuce. 15-15 second half.
Connecticut still in its 1-3-1 zone. They want Brust to shoot it over the top. Louis wants the ball inside to Jones and Williams.
Serena to Brust. Harvey. Nice pass to Williams. Loses the ball. Kate George has it. And Gamble loses it. Picked off by Shelton Jones, who lays it up and in.
Nice hustle on the part of Shelton Jones. Good hands. Good reaction.
St. John's going with a smaller lineup now as Robinson posts up, and he hits. 2-point game, St. John's the lead.
Cliff Robinson doing what he doesn't like to do as well, playing with his back to the basket, but one bounce to the baseline, a little jumper over Williams and Shelton Jones trying to get help.
Jones again posting up. He turns, gets the bucket, and a foul is called. And Jones starting to come alive offensively after a very quiet first half.
Shelton Jones started the half playing defense and going to the board. You knew he was going to be alive, and now offensively here, real quick feet. That's the key on that one. That spin move is vital. Big men who want to be able to have a future career in the pros have to develop a quickness with the feet.
He feasts down in that right block. Put the man on his hip and put it in. He'll go for a 3-point play here. Jones in the game with 6 points. Only 2 in the first half.
He's been a Mr. Steady player for Louis Conner-Second St. John's all year, averaging 18 points and 9 rebounds.
St. George penetrates, puts it up. Rebound Brust. Lead for Harvey with Gamble chasing him, and Boo puts it up and in, and St. John's leads by 7.
Matt Brust, great look, gets the ball out forward to Boo Harvey, and Louis will always take that fast break if it shows.
Harvey's eyes light up in the open court. Now the Huskies need a hoop. Willie McLeod, outside Gamble. Gamble wants the 3. And that may be interference. The basket will count. And that's a 3-point basket for Bill Gamble.
Ball in and out by Gamble, up above the rim, cannot be touched. As long as it's above the cylinder, it's a 3-point attempt. It's a 3-point goaltending call.
Back to Jones in the paint. Rebound Brust. He turns. Rebound Jason Williams. Foul call. Basket count. St. John's with 3 opportunities, and the Huskies not blocking out there.
We're getting physical now. St. John's really chasing the ball up on the glass. Played volleyball with it that time. Brust, Williams, and Jones.
Lyman Dupree's back in for UConn, and Robert Spider-Ursery also checks in for the Huskies. Out of the game goes Willie McLeod and Murray Williams.
And I think these adjustments were made here strictly because of the defensive rebounding.
Knocked out of bounds, UConn basketball. 47-41 St. John's. Gamble in the game with 2 3-pointers, 11 points.
UConn will organize something, try to free Gamble up in the corner or get the ball inside to Robinson.
Gamble's getting free outside. Here's Ursery. Robinson posts up. Strong move by Robinson.
And that's exactly what Calhoun wanted. They needed a basket then, and when you need a basket, you go to your crunch man.
17 for Robinson, 4-point game.
Connecticut now in a 2-3 zone.
Brust to Boo Harvey. Steve Sharina will take it. Got it.
Steve Sharina in the middle.
Redmen by 6. Biggest lead this game was 8. It was 8-0 St. John's. And since then, the game has been within that range. Robinson missing. Ursery, basket and a foul. Robert Ursery, who had a big bucket earlier this year at Villanova to tie the game before Plansky won it. And he's been giving Calhoun some meaningful minutes in spots.
Robert Ursery, a good, solid player coming in off the bench, shooting over 50% from the field, 21 for 40, and has a good nose for the ball, and he's also a good defensive player.
Yeah, that's the big thing. He really will work on D. Going for the 3-point play. 16 fouls St. John's, 4 on UConn, 12-19 to go.
Going for the traditional 3-pointer here.
That's right. We've had a 3-point series here, or at least opportunities in the last 4 times down the court. Good hustle by Gamble. St. George controlling.
Big second opportunity for Connecticut here. 4-point game.
Jeff King to Gamble. Working against Sharina. DePriest. He loses it. Picked off by George. And he loses it. 20 seconds of the shot clock.
Seems like a hot potato out there right now. No one's able to hold on to it and control it.
12 seconds of the shot clock. Gamble wide open. Fires for 3. Rebound, Shelton Jones. Got a good shot out of it.
Shelton Jones has come alive on that defensive board here in the second half.
Boo Harvey with 16 points in the game. Foul called away from the ball. Jeff King and Jason Williams battling inside. And the foul is called on UConn. It's on Jeffrey King. Third personal. Now we'll take a break with 11:19 to go in the second half. St. John's with the lead by 4. Back after these messages from your local station. O'Brien Alumni Hall on the campus of St. John's University. And we'll be selecting the Plymouth Player of the Game at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised for the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. Boo Harvey certainly a candidate right now.
Boo Harvey, Cliff Robinson, Jason Williams off his first half performance.
That Villanova-Seton Hall game we gave you earlier is a final, 69-63. The Wildcats, they have still lost only 1 in Big East Conference play.
The Wildcats, a surprise team early. They're no longer a surprise. Everyone knows they're on top of the league.
Foul called again away from the ball, and again it's on UConn. Huskies working hard on defense, but they're getting caught.
And showing a little bit more man-to-man. That's the reason that the fouls will show up. Packed in his zone here on the out-of-bounds play.
John DePriest is first. Both teams now with 6 fouls. Williams. Rebound King, and Williams was over the top. And 1-1 now on the other end of the court.
1-1 very early in the half here now. It's over 10 minutes to go, just under 11 minutes to go.
And that is 4 on Jason Williams, who got his first start of the year tonight as 12 points.
Game's being played with tremendous intensity. Both teams going to the board at both ends, and with the 1-1s coming up for both teams, we're in for a long 11 minutes, I'd say.
Jeff King at the line, 1-1. King with 2 points in the game. And he hits the first.
I'm a little bit surprised at the amount of points scored. I thought that this might be a game played in the high 50s, low 60s.
King hits both free throws. Carnesecca will let Williams play with 4 right now. He has yet to send a substitute to the table.
That's an interesting move. It would seem as though with a starter, Marco Baldi, on the bench, this would be the time to make a substitution.
49-47, Redmen lead it, 10:40 to go. Steve Sharina to Boo Harvey, who penetrates. Brust fires. Knocked around. George was pushed by Sharina. There's no doubt about that call. And it's 1-1 for Tate George.
No question. No question on that one. Brust makes the 3-point attempt. George goes for the rebound, no question. Sharina knocks him down.
The Huskies only 65% from the foul line as a team. The Redmen 73%.
Tate George, though, has made 19 foul shots in a row prior to this game.
Oh, you should have never said that.
See if it works.
Oh, you got by, Joe.
No such thing as a hex when the guy is a good shooter.
Tate George can tie the game with this free throw. That is his first point of the night. He came off the bench, remember, for the first time this year. The streak lives on.
21 in a row. It's pretty good foul shooting.
49 all.
Connecticut back in their matchup zone.
Second half clock, you can see it in front of you. Michael Porter on the bench, Steve Sharina on the floor for the Redmen.
I just going to say that. I think it's time for Michael Porter.
Harvey penetrates on Ursery. He fires, deflected. Jones rebound, and a foul is called on Lyman DePriest of UConn.
As we mentioned earlier, Bob Ursery is a real fine defensive player. Did a nice job that time on Harvey's penetration. Got a piece of the jump shot.
Robinson's coming back in. King just committed his 4th, and Robinson has only 3 personals. He's back in the game.
And you can be certain that Robinson, they're going to try to get the ball to Robinson and see inside, see if he can work on Williams, who has 4.
So you have Jason Williams on the floor with 4, Cliff Robinson on the floor with 3, and Jeff King on the bench with 4. Shelton Jones at the free throw line, and only 2 points in the first half.
Shelton Jones came to life defensively and on the board, and now he's getting into the flow a little bit more offensively also.
Jones, 1,097 career points at St. John's, 25th on the all-time list. Then he buries both free throws. 51-49 St. John's, coming up on 10 minutes left in the second half.
An interesting matchup now. Jones on Robinson.
Gamble staying right around that 3-point line. In case he gets free, he'll put it up. Gamble, 3-pointer. He hits, and the Huskies lead by 1.
And Louis was a little disappointed in Sharina's defense that particular time. He's, no question, his job is to keep Gamble from getting the open 3-pointer.
Big second half for Gamble. 3 3-pointers, 14 points in the game, 10 in the second half.
The comeback by Connecticut, as we mentioned, if Gamble could get involved in the offense.
St. John's taking a little bit of time here. Jones rejected out of bounds, and a foul is called. And that is number 4 on Cliff Robinson.
A nice block on the part of Robinson, but then he came down across the arm. You have to wind up blocking the ball without trying to just knock it out of bounds. You don't have to bury it, just get a piece of it.
Jim Calhoun pleads with Jody Sylvester, but it will stand.
And now, interesting coaching decision for Calhoun. Louis has decided to roll the dice and to keep Williams in the game with 4. Will Calhoun keep Robinson in?
Looks right now as though both coaches will leave their players on the court. Their big man, Luke Garnaseca, who hasn't been on the bench in a while. He's been on his knees most of the game. Jim Calhoun also down on one knee.
Louis praying a little.
Jones hitting 4 consecutive free throws, and St. John's leads by 1.
Jim is countering with prayer at his end.
9:15 to play. 53-52, St. John's by 1. Lyman to Priest. To Tate George.
Connecticut in its version of a motion offense. St. John's tight man-to-man.
George. Gamble's looking for the ball. Here's Robinson. He turns. Tipped up by DePriest. He'll get another chance. And a foul is called on the backside. Steve Sharina tried to swipe the ball away, and he was whistled.
Freshman Lyman DePriest doing a nice job. Good nose, going to the glass. Nose for the ball there, Lyman DePriest. Doesn't matter how tall you are. It's nice to be 6'10", but you can be 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", and get to the offensive board, but you have to pursue it.
So King comes into the game with 4 fouls, and Robinson goes to the bench with 4 fouls. DePriest at the line. 1 and 1. And it's up and in.
The hard way.
And King's going to get credit for that basket.
They'll credit it to King, but I'm not sure he was the one that tapped it. Jones may have been the one that touched it.
Ursery was also in there. In any case, it counts. 54-53 Huskies. King gets credited for the hoop. Jones to Brust. Williams in the paint. He hits it. Let's see. I don't think so. Waved off by Jody Sylvester.
Good call by Jody. Definitely the foul was made while he was on the floor prior to the shot.
1 and 1 for Jason Williams. This game very similar to the game last Saturday night. St. John's against Seton Hall. You were clinging to every basket. That's the way this game has been. Every possession's important.
And that's going to happen for the next 8 minutes.
He misses the front end of the one-on-one, does Williams. Huskies with the basketball and a 1-point lead.
You'll see both teams dig in a little bit more defensively now. St. John's extending its man-to-man pressure.
DePriest. Sharina right up in the face of Gamble.
And that's the way Louis wants him to play Gamble.
Shot clock 15. Gamble. And a whistle, a blocking foul against Connecticut. Robert Ursery away from the ball. Offensive foul.
As part of the offensive philosophy for Connecticut, they throw blocks, if you will, or picks on the baseline for Gamble, and Ursery got caught on the move there. 1-1.
So it will be a procession to the free throw line for the remainder of the game, you would think. 7:41 to play. Both teams over the limit. Steve Sharina at the line. 1-1. Pretty good shooter. Doesn't go to the line very often. He hits the first.
3 for 4 prior to that. 4 for 5 now. Sharina, 50% field goal shooter. I imagine he's a good shooter if he were to get more minutes played.
Good shooter in practice. He's a senior with the Redmen. He's been very patient. He says that his education at St. John's, he wouldn't trade it in for anything. Time it on the court, tied at 54. Back St. John's 55, Connecticut 54. UConn with the ball.
Now with both teams in the 1-1 foul trouble, you can be sure that we're going to have a parade to the foul line.
Murray Williams back in the game for the Huskies. Robinson on the bench with 4 fouls. And there's some pushing and shoving away from the ball right now. DePriest and Brust. And Brust got called for the foul.
Brust and DePriest, 2 football players, reverting back to their high school days.
That could have been coincidental minors each for 2 minutes.
Actually, Brust playing real tough. DePriest makes a little bit of a forehand shiver move, and now they go at it inside here. There's the push with the leg.
1-1, let's go. So DePriest goes to the line, 1-1.
As often happens in that case, the guy who initiates a contact doesn't necessarily get the foul.
It's the guy who gets caught last, right? 45% free throw shooter, DePriest, and he hits the first.
In basketball, you don't want to be a counterpuncher. If you are, the referees pick it up. There's Louis, has had 19 consecutive teams to postseason play. Any coach would love to have that as part of his dossier in his career.
DePriest smooth on both free throws. Huskies by 1.
Connecticut now in a 1-3-1 zone. When they've gone to this formation, they've made St. John's shoot over the top, but it's opened them up on the offensive board. St. John's been able to get something inside when they've been in this zone.
St. John's biggest lead in the second half was 4. UConn's biggest lead in the second half, 1. Here's Brust. He hits.
DePriest and Brust answer each other. DePriest makes the 2 foul shots. Brust comes back with a field goal.
Brust has 8 points. Redmen back up by 1. Phil Gamble. Tate George. Huskies have shown excellent patience on offense tonight.
Pretty flawless in terms of turnovers, the Huskies. They've done a nice job of ball handling.
They only had 2 turnovers in the first half. Gamble to George. Shot clock down to 8 seconds. King. And a foul is called. And Shelton Jones is ticketed with the personal.
A touch foul on the part of Jones. He did touch him on the wrist and elbow, but it wasn't a burying foul. Here comes Michael Porter.
So Porter returns with 6 minutes even left in the game, replacing Steve Sharina.
Steve Sharina did a real nice job during that foray for Louis. Played great defense on Gamble, made a couple of foul shots, made the big field goal. Nice job on the part of the senior.
Robert Ursery now replaces Murray Williams for UConn. The Huskies have committed only 3 turnovers in the game, St. John's 9.
The Huskies' ball handling in the second half has almost been flawless, just 1 turnover.
Jeff King hits the first.
I think what we're seeing now is seesaw, and we're going to see it the rest of the way. This is going to be give and take, push and shove all the way. King's high game this year, 14 against Virginia.
And he buries both from the line. 58-57, UConn.
Difference in the game may be who fouls out first amongst the big men.
Clock becoming a factor. Both teams over the limit. Through Harvey to Jones. Got it.
Shelton Jones makes a real tough shot on the baseline. 12-footer right in the face.
Three-pointer, Gamble forced. Rebound, Brust. St. John's by 1. Each team with 3 timeouts left.
Boo Harvey does what Louis wants. Didn't see an advantage. Kicks it back out for the half-court offense.
Harvey missing. Loose ball. Brust is there. The basket will not count, but a foul is called on Phil Gamble.
Good call again. Brust, a real hustle play. Kind of play that Louis expects of him. We had mentioned earlier in the first half, a blue-collar kind of player. Gets a lot of things done for Louis.
That is the 3rd foul on Phil Gamble. Now Cliff Robinson comes back in with 4 fouls, and Murray Williams also reports. To the bench, Robert Ursery and Lyman DePriest for UConn.
5 minutes to go in the game. The difference in the game may well be whether Robinson or Jones fouls out. Basket was no good. Foul was made on the floor.
And Brust hits the first free throw of the 1-and-1. St. John's by 2, 5:02 to play. Rebound, Robinson.
Robinson in off the bench. See how long it takes UConn to try to go to him.
Kate George controls. Nice feed to Gamble. Foul call before. And it's on St. John's. Shelton Jones, I think he wants a new pair of goggles. He wears the special goggles because he had detached retina surgery this past summer. And he has to, much like a jockey, get a new pair.
Exactly. The St. John's people were very concerned about that preseason, whether or not that was going to affect his play, but it certainly hasn't. He's had an outstanding offensive year. He's improved in every category.
Robinson at the line, 19 points in the game. He is now 6 for 6 from the line in the game. He has 20.
Cliff Robinson has been player of the game on numerous occasions for UConn. He's playing at that rate right now.
Playing with 4 fouls. Tied at 60. Ursery back in for the Huskies. Murray Williams back on the bench.
Huskies with their best rebounding team in there now. They're trying to clear their defensive board.
High score. Second half has been close throughout. St. John's led at the half 34-30.
Connecticut in a matchup zone. They're going to try to make St. John's go over the top.
Jones. Brust penetrates. Williams. Good follow by Jason Williams.
Nice move on the part of Jason Williams. Missed the first shot, nose for the ball, pursued it, back up and in.
14 for Jason Williams. And steps called on the Huskies. Only their 4th turnover of the game. Big one, though.
In tennis, they call that an unforced turnover, not the kind of mistake that you want. Unforced error.
See if St. John's can extend their lead as we go inside of 4 minutes. Both clubs using a lot of that 45-second shot clock tonight. And a foul called on Cliff Robinson, and that is all for Cliff. Tough foul.
Exit Cliff. Good call on the part of the officials here. We'll see Cliff come over the top, trying to make the steal on the pass into the post. No question, he's got hands on. Good call. Exit Cliff
call to make, though, isn't it?
Oh, a tough call to make, but it's got to be made. Exit Cliff Robinson, and some of the hopes of the Huskies go with that, I think. Jeff King is really going to have to come to life right now.
21 points for Robinson, 3 rebounds. He leaves with 5 fouls, 3:47 to play. Jason Williams 1-and-1. And this Williams, Jason Williams, with 15 points. Murray Williams of UConn on the bench.
Jason Williams done a great job in this, his first starting role.
Now Murray Williams back in. And he has the rebound. So it's St. John's by 3. 3:40 to play. Huskies will go down the stretch without Cliff Robinson. See if Phil Gamble tries to take over. Tate George backs in.
Tate George will penetrate and try to get something for Cliff Gamble.
Gamble. Shot clock at 15.
Taking time off the clock is fine, but you still have to get a good shot.
7 seconds of the shot clock. Ursery puts it up. Rebound to Harvey. He leads for Brust. Jones. Foul called. It's on Murray Williams of UConn. Was there any question in your mind that Brust was going to get that ball that was thrown down court?
No, you just know it. He pursued it all the way. Looked as if he had the layup for Shelton Jones. Shelton doesn't make this one.
And that's where the foul was called on Murray Williams. His third personal. Calhoun isn't happy about it. But down the stretch we go, 63-60, St. John's.
Early to just rely on 3.
Three-point field goal, Ursery tie game.
If you get it as Ursery did, you bury it. Wide open, top of the key. Bob Ursery. Pressure shot.
Ursery, who hit that pressure, Jay, earlier this year against Nova. A 2-point field goal. We're tied at 63. 2:22 to play. Jones. Jason Williams. And a foul is called on Jason Williams, and that will be all for him.
Louis didn't want to see that foul. He missed the jumper. 4 fouls. You don't want to make your 5th over the top in that position.
I don't think he wanted him to take that shot either.
I'm not sure. 15-footer facing.
So Jason Williams fouls out with 15 points in the game and 8 rebounds in his first start as a Redmen.
Louis will call a timeout here. You can be sure he's going to want to talk about this.
Marco Baldi reporting for Jason Williams for St. John's. Timeout with 2:13 to go. We'll take a timeout as well. We're tied at 63, and we'll be right back. Robert Ursery is at the line for UConn 1-1.
Tie score, very little to choose between the two teams statistically. Not a surprise that with 2 minutes to go we're tied.
Ursery, 7 points in the game, a 67% free throw shooter, but he hasn't been at the line all that much this year. Rebound, Jones.
Every possession is vital now.
Harvey dishes to Porter. Under 2 minutes to play. Marco Baldi replacing Jason Williams for the Redmen.
Connecticut paying a little bit more attention to Harvey now.
Harvey almost threw it away. Luckily for Boo, Gamble deflected it, and he'll get another chance.
Connecticut challenged Boo Harvey to shoot it earlier in the game, and he responded.
Michael Porter, shot clock down to 18. Harvey double pump. Tough move by Harvey.
Tate George played him about as hard as you can play him.
18 points for Boo Harvey. And now Steve Michael, a 3-point threat, checks in for Robert Ursery for UConn.
Boo Harvey at 5'11", going over Tate George, a 6'5" guard. The pressure hoop there on the baseline.
2-point lead, St. John's. A minute 30 to play. Williams outside Michael. Shot clock, 25 seconds. And the Huskies want to talk about it. They will now have 1 timeout left, and St. John's has 2 timeouts left. 65-63 St. John's, a minute 10 to play. And like this. 2-point St. John's lead. UConn with the basketball. There are the timeouts remaining. The clock is at 1:03 to go. The shot clock is at 9 seconds. Tate George backs in on Boo Harvey. 4 seconds of the shot clock. 2 seconds. Gamble for 3. He hits it. And UConn leads by 1.
Not exactly the shot that Coach Calhoun wanted, but Gamble buried it.
17 for Gamble. Huskies with a 1-point lead.
Phil Gamble, an outstanding second half.
And St. John's wants to talk about it. Whoa, has Gamble come alive with 13 second-half points. He's made 4 3-point field goals.
As we had mentioned, Bruce, prior to the game, the idea of putting Gamble into the lineup was to be a catalyst and impact player. And at halftime, the reason that Connecticut was down is he couldn't get anything done in the first half. But here in the second half, he's come alive from 3-point territory.
The shot clock was down to 2 seconds. And Gamble looked up, and nothing but net. I mean, it looked good all the way.
There's no question. It was a bad shot taken with pressure on him. And as we get to 36 seconds to go in the game now, who's player of the game? Boo Harvey, Cliff Robinson, maybe even Phil Gamble.
Well, as Gamble goes, so go the Huskies. When they lose, he averages less than 10. When they win, he averages more than 17. UConn has not won a game ever at Alumni Hall. They are 0-8. St. John's has won 14 in a row over the Huskies.
And the thing that's changed so drastically in the game is the 45-second clock and the... And again, the Connecticut ball handling over the course of the game has been outstanding. In fact, the ball handling on the part of both teams has been very, very good. 9 turnovers, I think, for St. John's.
The half biggest lead was 4 points by St. John's.
1-3-1 zone on the part of Connecticut. Brust or Porter over the top probably here.
Matt Brust. Got it. Redmen by 2.
Calhoun and Connecticut challenging Brust to make that one, and he responds. St. John's now man-to-man.
Murray Williams in the ball game off to Jeff King. George fires for 2. He got it. 71-71.
Tate George proves that the three-pointer was no fluke as he makes a hurry-up 15-footer on the baseline.
Quiet first half for George. He's made up for it in the second half, coming off the bench for the first time this year. But as Karnaseka says, it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes. Brust is free again. Loose ball underneath. And Robert Ursery runs it down for UConn. 3 minutes to play in overtime, tied at 71.
Robert Ursery is a real workman-like player. Hustles all the time, comes up with those key kind of rebounds he just came up with there. Connecticut in a delay kind of offense here.
King with 20 seconds of the shot clock. Back outside to Tate George. Clark's a set play.
Now they're going to come to Gamble.
Porter on him. 10-second shot clock. Murray Williams in the paint. Blocked by Brust. Foul called. Matt Brust, 2-shot foul. Second personal on Brust. Both teams over the limit, but it's a 2-shot foul anyway.
Murray Williams, freshman, outstanding player in Torrington, Connecticut. 67% shooter from the foul line. This is how freshmen grow.
Williams, 2 points in the game. And he calmly connects on the first.
You don't remain a freshman in the Big East too long if you play any number of minutes.
Each team given an additional timeout in overtime, so the Huskies have 1 timeout. St. John's is 2. Just popped out on Murray Williams. Huskies by 1 point, 2:22 left in overtime.
Connecticut now in a 2-3 zone. They're going to try not to let Brust get the same shot he got last time. See what St. John's can come up with. See if they try to go inside to Sheldon Jones.
Harvey free for 3. He hits.
Boo Harvey having the shooting night of his life.
21 points for Harvey, a career high. 74-72, St. John's. Shot clock, 30 seconds. Jeff King, guarded by Baldy. Now George trying to get something going with 15 seconds on the shot clock. George backs in. Has it knocked away by Harvey, who saves it. And a foul is called on Brust. He ran into Gamble, and Phil Gamble will shoot it. Gamble's okay.
Good hustle play by Matt Brust, but definitely a foul. Nice hustle by Boo Harvey. Gamble goes for the ball. Brust makes the foul.
Great effort. Great effort on the part of both teams.
Without question.
And so Phil Gamble will head to the free throw line.
Phil Gamble,
17 points.
85% foul shooter.
One for two from the line in the game. Rebound Jones, an authoritative board.
Two big misses, the last two opportunities for UConn from the foul line.
A minute 10 in the ball game. St. John's by 2.
45-second clock a factor here.
Porter and Harvey playing catch for St. John's, looking for their third straight win in the Big East Conference after that 0-2 start. Baldy holds up, hands to Harvey. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Loose underneath, Brust is there. Foul, and the basket counts.
And who else but Matt Brust? Opportunistic player. Here's Brust. What an opportunist this young man is. Up strong, makes the field goal. Chance for the three-pointer here. St. John's up by 4.
Jeff King is fouled out. 5 on Jeff King. Brust will go to the line, chance for a three-point play. He has 13 points in the game.
UConn has a possession now where they won't necessarily have to go for the three-pointer. They're going to need 2 possessions and 2 scores. So they might try to go inside a little with a layup or so inside.
And it drops. So St. John's roll. 77-72 St. John's. Shot clock is off. 43 seconds left in the game. George fires. Rebound Jones. Another big board for Shelton Jones.
Shelton Jones had an outstanding second half defensively and on the boards.
So Marco Baldi is fouled by Tate George, and Baldi will go to the line for 1-1. St. John's a good free throw shooting team, 73%. Carnesecca, 63 years young, shouting instructions on the sidelines. And there's Brust. Came up with that crucial follow and foul shot.
1-1.
That's his first point in the game. And it's a 6-point St. John's lead here in the first overtime.
And it may be all she wrote for UConn.
Rebound Tate George. Huskies down 6. That's only 2 3-pointers. George penetrates. Hands to McLeod. Peichel for 3. Jones again. And a foul is called on Phil Gamble. And Shelton Jones has been a force on the defensive boards. 3 consecutive big rebounds.
Way above the box. Air traffic control, the only thing that can keep him under control right now. Jim Calhoun thought he had a foul there.
Shelton Jones, 17 points in the game, 7 for 7 from the line. And Greg Economou set to report in for the Huskies. He's capable of shooting the 3. and he replaces McLeod. So Calhoun putting in all his potential three-point shooters. He's got Ursary out there, Peichel, Gamble, and now Economo along with Tate George. So it's a very small team, but it doesn't matter now. Jones at the line. 6-point St. John's lead.
I think we lean a little bit towards Boo Harvey as the player of the game because of the way he shot it, but Shelton Jones has just done an outstanding job here in the second half. Came alive on the board, came alive defensively, and in the last 10 minutes has been a force offensively.
St. John's by 7. 14 seconds to go. Economo fires from long range. Jones again with the rebound, and he saves it. And that should do it with 5 seconds to play. 2 seconds, and that is it. In overtime, the Redmen of St. John's defeat the Huskies of Connecticut. It is their 15th consecutive win over Utah.